a strong and consistent defensive player. He feels a major needs on the defensive line, and the Cowboys need help with their pass rush, and Gary gives them exactly that. He is experienced, powerful, and ready to contribute immediately. This was clearly a win-now move for the Dallas. Another area where Cowboys improved was in the secondary. They added players like Jalen Thompson, Kobe Durant, and DeLeon Kendrick. These are not the biggest names in football, but they bring something very important, such as versatility and depth. The new defensive coordinator, Christian Parker, is known for working well with defensive backs, so these signings were clearly part of the bigger plan. The Cowboys want to build a flexible and intelligent defense that can adapt to different situations. This was another smart move by the front office. However, not everything went perfectly as planned. One of the biggest mistakes the Cowboys made was not re-signing Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney finished last season very strong. In the final games, he showed that he can still be a dominant force in the defense. Letting him go creates a gap in the pass rush rotation. Even through the Cowboys added Lash and Gary, keeping Clowney would have made the defensive line very, very strong. This decision is still confusing to many fans, but the biggest concern right now is the linebacker position. The Cowboys currently have a very thin group at linebacker. They have young players like DeMarvion Overshawn, but they lack experience and leadership in the middle of the defense. And this is where veteran players become very important. And that brings us to first potential signing. Let's talk about Bob Wagner. Bob Wagner is the future Hall of Fame player. Even at 35 years old, he is still playing at high level. Last season, he recorded over 160 tackles along with the sacks and interceptions. This is incredible production for a player at his age. More importantly, Bob Wagner brings leadership. He understands the game at very high level. He can organize the defense, guide young players, and make big plays when it matters most. For the Cowboys, signing Wagner would solve a major problem instantly. The only challenge is money. He previously signed a deal worth of around $9 million. The Cowboys would need him to accept less to fit under their budget. But if they can make it worth, this would be a perfect move. Now let's move to another position of the need, edge rusher. If the Cowboys do not bring back Clowney, they need another experienced player on the edge rush. This is where Derek Barnett comes in. Derek Barnett is a Super Bowl champion. He has experience playing in big games and strong defenses. Recently, he had solid seasons with the consistent sacks numbers. He may not be a superstar, but he is reliable. He can rotate in, provide pressure, and add depth in defensive line. For a team trying to compete at high level, players like Barnett are very valuable. Again, the question is cost. His market value is not cheap, but the Cowboys can negotiate a lower deal. He could be a smart addition. Finally, let's talk on running back position. The Cowboys already have Javonte Williams, but they still need depth behind him. That brings us to the Hassan Haskins. Hassan Haskins is not a big name, but he is a hardworking and reliable player. He has experience and he takes care of the football. In his career, he has very few mistakes, which is important for the backup running back. He can contribute on special teams and provide support when needed. Most importantly, he is affordable. His contract would fit easily within the Cowboys' budget. That kind of the low-risk signing can quietly improve the team. So, what does all of this mean for the Cowboys? It means the team is close. They have made good moves, they have improved in key areas, but they are not finished yet. They still need leadership at linebacker. They still need depth on the edge rusher. And they still need support in the running game. If the Cowboys can make just a few more smart budget-friendly signings, they can turn this roster into a serious contender. At the 2026 season approach, as this season is coming, every decision matters, of course. Will the Cowboys sign Bob Wagner and fix their linebacker problem? Will they add another edge rusher like Delek Barnett, or will they focus on the draft instead? These are the questions that will shape the future of this team. So by now, thank you for watching us. If you enjoyed this breakdown, do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with the other Cowboys fans. And tell me in the comments which player do you want Cowboys to sign. Today we are talking about something very important. 2026 NFL draft is getting closer and closer, and this could be one of the most important drafts in recent history for the Dallas Cowboys. Why? Because Dallas has 2 first-round picks, and after disappointing 2025 season, this team needs real impact players. The Cowboys finished with 7 wins, 9 losses, and 1 team records last season. That is not the standard of this franchise. That is not the standard for this franchise, Dallas Cowboys. The biggest problem, of course, was clearly the defense. It struggled badly, and many people even call it one of the worst defenses in the team history. That is why most analysts believe Dallas will focus heavily on the defense in the first round. But here is where things get interesting. The Cowboys front office has said they will take the best player available. That means even if the team needs defense, they could still surprise everyone and pick an offensive player. Now let us break down what different draft experts are predicting. First, let us talk about Phil Yates from the ESPN. He believes the Cowboys will go all in on improving the pass rush with the 12th pick. He has Dallas selecting Rueben Bain Jr., an edge rusher from the Miami. Bain is known for his power and his ability to destroy offensive lines. And last season he had 9.5 sacks, which shows he can get the quarterbacks consistent. Then at pick number 20, Phil Yates predict another edge rusher, Zion Young, from the Missouri. Yes, that means 2 edge rushers in the first round. Some people might think that is too much, but a strong pass rush can completely change a defense. If you can pressure the quarterback, everything becomes easier for the rest of the defense. Now let us move on. Bruce Feldman from the Athletic. His prediction is much more aggressive. He believes the Cowboys could trade up to the 3rd overall pick to select David Bailey from the Texas Tech University. That would be a huge move, and Bailey is seen as a game-changing player, someone who can bring energy and dominance to the defense front. At pick number 20, Feldman has Dallas going to offense with Denzel Boston and a wide receiver from the Washington. Boston is a big and fast receiver with strong hands. Over the last 2 seasons, he caught 125 passes and scored 20 touchdowns. That kind of the production is very impressive, and adding a weapon like that could help the Cowboys offense become more explosive. Next, we look at Lance Zierlein from the NFL.com. This is a website, and he believed the Cowboys might get lucky at pick number 12, and he predicts Sonny Styles, a linebacker from Ohio State. Styles is a powerful and smart defender who can stop the run and chase players all over the field. At pick number 20, Zierlein has Dallas selecting Colton Hood, a cornerback from the Tennessee. This is not a flash pick, but it is a necessary one. The Cowboys secondary needs help, especially in coverage and tackling. Hood brings toughness and reliability, and he can be very important for the Dallas Cowboys. And now let's talk about on Matt Millen from the ESPN. His prediction focuses heavily on secondary. At pick number 12, he has Dallas selecting Jermond McCoy, a cornerback from the Tennessee. McCoy is a physical defender with excellent movement skills. Even though he missed the last season due to injury, his previous performance showed elite talent. At pick number 20, Miller predicts Emmanuel McNeil Wallen, a safety from Toledo. This player brings size, strength, and ability to create turnovers. He is especially good at forcing fumbles and stopping plays in open field. The Cowboys need young talent at safety, so this pick makes a lot of sense. Finally, we look at Chadi Leuter from the NFL.com. He also predicted Sonny Styles at pick number 12, showing that multiple experts believe Styles could fall right into the Dallas hands. Then, often a possible trade, he has Dallas selecting a Colton Hood later in the first round. This would allow the Cowboys to gain extra picks while still filling a major needs at cornerback. So, what does all of this tell us? It tells us one clear thing. The Cowboys are expected to focus heavily on the defense. Edge rushers, linebackers, and cornerbacks and safeties are all on table. This team needs playmakers who can change games, create turnovers, and stop opponents. But do not forget, there is still a chance Dallas could surprise everyone. If a top offensive player is available, they might take him. That is what makes this draft so exciting. The Cowboys have a real opportunity here. 2 first-round picks can change the future of the team. If they make the right decision, they could rebuild their defense and become serious contenders again. So, now I want to hear from you. Which player do you want the Cowboys to draft? Should they focus only on a defense, or do you want them to add an offensive weapon? Comment below, let me know in your thoughts, and do not forget to subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys news, rumors, and draft updates. Thank you for watching, and as always, go Cowboys. We update you the massive and breaking news about Dallas Cowboys, especially this draft. No mock news 2026 Dallas team, especially focusing on the defensive side of the ball. and more specifically the defensive front heading into 2026 and beyond. So let us start with the big picture. There is a strong belief right now that the Dallas Cowboys are focusing heavily on improving the front of their defense. When we talk about the defensive front, we are talking about defensive line, edge rushers, and linebackers. These are the players who control the line of the scrimmage, who put the pressure on the quarterbacks, and who stop the run. Now, there is where things get interesting. The Cowboys recently brought in a new defensive coordinator, Christian Parker. He is known as a secondary expert, meaning his strength is coaching defensive backs like cornerbacks and safeties. Because of that, the expectation is that the Cowboys believe their secondary can improve with coaching development and small upgrades, but that also means something very important. It means that real focus, the real investment, and real big moves are expected to happen in the defensive front. And right now, if we are being honest, that is exactly where the Cowboys need the most help. Let us look at the edge rush position. The Cowboys added the Lashan Gary, which is a solid move, and he is a talented player who can bring energy and pressure. But is that enough? Probably not. If you are trying to compete at the highest level, if you are serious about winning now, one addition is not enough. You need depth, you need rotation, and you need elite talent. And that is where the idea of a big move comes in. Now let us talk about a defensive interior with players like Otito, Ogobonia, and Jonathan Bullard expected to step into big roles, especially as a replacement for Osa Odingizua. There are serious questions. Can they handle that responsibility? Can they perform at high level consistently? Maybe they can, but if you are the Cowboys, you cannot take that risk without adding more proven talent. And then we move to the linebacker position. Right now, there has not been any major addition, no big name, no game-changing player. That leaves the gap in the defense, especially when it comes to stopping the run and covering the middle of the field. So when you look at all of these three levels of the defensive front, edge, interior, and linebacker, you start to see a pattern. There is a room, maybe even strong needs for a big move. And that brings us to one of the most exciting parts of this discussion, the possibility of the Blockbuster trade. So, in the recent 7-round mock draft simulation, the Cowboys made a massive move. They went out and acquired Maxx Crosby from the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, just imagine that for a second. Maxx Crosby lining up alongside Lashan Gary. That is a scary combination. This is the kind of the pass rush that can change the games, that can destroy offensive lines, and that can take defense to another level. But here is where things got even more interesting. Officially, Jerry Jones said that Cowboys are no longer pursuing Maxx Crosby. On other side, Raiders are also saying that they are not looking to trade him, but let us be real for the moment. In NFL, things are not always what they seem. Teams say one thing publicly and do another behind the scenes. It is a part of the business. It is a part of the strategy. So when both sides say the deal is not happening, and it sometimes makes you wonder if something is actually being discussed quietly, because from the football perspective, these moves make a lot of sense. Cowboys are in what many people call win now mode. Even though they have missed the playoff recently, the expectation is still high. The pressure is still there. Adding a player like Maxx Crosby sends a clear message. We are not waiting, we are going for it now. So now let us imagine how this defense unit could look. You have Maxx Crosby, Lashan Gary, and other young talents rotating in. That creates depth, that creates flexibility, and that creates consistent pressure. And when your defensive line is strong, another thing also become easier. Your secondary does not have to cover for too long. Your linebackers can play faster, and your entire defense become more aggressive. This is why building the defensive front is so important. It is a foundation of the great defense. Now, there are still risks. Maxx Crosby has had some injury concerns, especially with his knee long term. Giving up high draft picks is also a big decision. You are investing in the present, but you are also giving up part of your future. So the question becomes simple. Is it worth it? If the Cowboys truly believe they are close to competing for the championship, then yes, it might be worth it. But if they are not as closer as they think, then this move could be a risk. That is the balance every team has to manage. Now, as we move forward, one thing is clear. Dallas Cowboys cannot stay passive. They cannot rely only on small improvements. They need the impact players. You know that one as a fan. They need different makers. And most importantly, they need dominant the line of the scrimmage, because of football games are often won and lost in trenches. So keep your eyes on this team. Watch that they do in the draft. So you have to watch what they will do in the draft, which is coming this month, and watch if any big trades happen, because one broad moves could change everything in the Dallas Cowboys. So we can end by saying thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, do not forget to subscribe, like, and share. Let me know in the comments what you think. Should the Cowboys go all in for the Maxx Crosby, or should they build it through the draft? I will see you in the next video. Stay safe, stay strong, and stay. Always keep supporting your team, Dallas Cowboys, every single day. Today we are diving deep into a very interesting situation, and that is a contract drama involving one of the most reliable players on the team, Brandon Aubrey. That is a story that might surprise a lot of fans, because when you think about the best players on the Cowboys over the last 3 years, Aubrey is right at the top of that list. Now let us really break this down slowly. Since joining the Cowboys in the 2023 as an undrafted free agent, Brandon Aubrey has been nothing short of incredible. In fact, you could argue he has been the most consistent player on the entire roster. He came with zero expectation in Dallas and quickly became an all-pro player in that 3 years. In his first season, he earned first team all-pro honors. Then in the next 2 seasons, he followed that up with the second team all-pro selections. On the top of that, he has been selected to the Pro Bowls every single year. And that kind of the consistency is rare. And what it makes even more impressive is his availability. He has played every single game. He has attempted more field goals and extra points than any kicker in the league since he arrived in the Dallas Cowboys. And of course, that is what coaches loves. That is what teams depends on. Now here is where things get really interesting. Despite of that success, Brandon Aubrey is currently in a contract negotiation with the Cowboys, and it is taking longer than expected. At the first, that might sound confusing. Why would a team not immediately pay a player like this? But when you look deeper, it actually starts to make sense. Let's talk about his performance first. Brandon Aubrey has already made a history with the Cowboys. He is tied with for the highest field goal percentage in the franchise history at 88.2%. And that him with the Danny Bale, who many fans consider one of the best kickers the team has ever had. Not only that, Brandon Aubrey broke the record for the longest field goal in the Cowboys' history with the 65-yard kick. And he has already set the record for the most field goals made from the 50 yards or more. So yes, we are talking about a truly right kicker. So again, why is there a problem? It comes down to many risk or timing. Reports say that Brandon Aubrey wants to become the highest paid kicker in the league, of course in the NFL. And right now, the top kickers make around $6.5 million per year, but there are rumors that Aubrey could be asking for closer to $10 million per year. That would completely change the market for the kickers, and that is where Cowboys start to hesitate. You see, from the team perspectives, there are risks. The biggest one is age. Brandon Aubrey is already 31 years old. You have to know that one. Now, in normal life, it is not that is not old at all. But in a professional sports, especially in the NFL, that is a different story. Many kickers begin to decline in their early 30s. Even great players like Dan Bale started to struggle around that age. And even legendary kickers like Justin Tucker have shown signs of the decline as they get older. So the Cowboys are thinking long term, and they are asking themselves, what if we give him a huge contract and then his performance drops? And there is a more, even though Aubrey has been amazing, there are small signs that could worry the team. In his first season, he had 95% success rate on field goals, but in the last two seasons, that number dropped to around 85 to 86%. Still, ever so good. It's still very good, but not perfect. And from long distance, he also declined last year compared to his yearly performance. So the Cowboys are not just looking at what he has done, they are thinking about what he might do next after signing of the new contract. So now let's talk about leverage. This is a very important because of his contract status. Brandon Aubrey is restricted free agent. You have to know that's one. That's one. And that means the Cowboys actually have most of the control in this situation, and they placed a second round tender on him. What does that mean? It means if another team wants to sign him, they would have to give up a second round draft pick. And realistically, no team is going to do that for the 31-year-old kicker. So Brandon Aubrey does not have a lot of negotiating power right now. And it gets even more interesting. The Cowboys could keep him for this season and then use the franchise tag next year. That would allow them to keep him again without committing to a long-term deal. So, from the business perspective, the Cowboys are actually in a very strong position. Now, from the Aubrey side, it is also understandable. He has performed at the highest level. He has proven his value, and he wants security in the Dallas Cowboys. He wants to be rewarded for what he has done. And honestly, he deserves to be paid well. But the big question, of course, is should he reset the entire market? And should the Cowboys take that risk? Or should they stay patient and protect their future? That is where opinions start to split among the fans. Some fans say pay him whatever he wants and he has earned it. And others say be careful, do not overpay for a position that cannot change quickly. And both sides have valid arguments. At the end of the day, the most realistic outcome might be a middle ground, a deal that makes Aubrey the highest paid kicker but still keeps him under $7 million per year. That would reward him but also protect the team. And good news for the Cowboys fans is this: there is no rush because the current contract situation, Brandon Aubrey is almost guaranteed to be on the team for the 2026. So the Cowboys can take their time and they can watch his performance this season and they can make smart decision later after this season. So do not panic. This is not a crisis. This is a business. Smart, careful, and a strategic business, of course. But I want to hear from you. Do you think the Cowboys should pay Brandon Aubrey whatever he wants? Or do you think they are making the right decision by being patient? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe, like the video, and share it with the other Cowboys fans, because we are just getting started and there are a lot of more Cowboys news coming in your way. So make sure
this off-season they made several moves in free agents, bringing in new players to strengthen the roster. Some of these moves were exciting, while others raised questions among the fans. One of the biggest additions was trading for Russian Gary. At first, many people criticized this move. Some believed the Cowboys gave up too much for him. However, when you look closely, this trade actually makes a lot of sense. Gary is a strong and consistent defensive player. He fills a major needs on the defensive line, and the Cowboys need help with their pass rush.